Welcome back. Thank you for staying with the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. The global increase in cases and the sustained community transmission reported in countries with direct flights to Caribbean member states has resulted in the risk of disease transmission to the Caribbean region being upgraded by the Caribbean Public Health Agency CARPHA from low to moderate to high when it comes to new coronavirus. The Ministry of Health says this requires a shift in planning for preparedness to rapid response. The Department of Health and Wellness is continuing its coronavirus preparedness. On Friday, the 28th of February, Prime Minister Allen Chastanet chaired an emergency meeting with the National Emergency Management Advisory Committee, NEMAC, to brief stakeholders of the disaster management plans in response to the global threat of COVID-19. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmar-George presented on the situation report globally, a regional coordinating mechanism, and the national response to date.
The Department of Health and Wellness, we await confirmation by the World Health Organization on the cases in French Saint Martin and the Dominican Republic. The global increase in cases and the sustained community transmission reported in countries with direct flights to our member states has resulted in the risk of disease transmission to the Caribbean region being upgraded by the Caribbean Public Health Agency from low to moderate to high. This requires a shift in planning from preparedness to rapid response. The Department of Health and Wellness has noted this update and continues to work towards preparation in country for management of cases.
A wide range of stakeholders were given the opportunity to voice concerns and make recommendations. On Sunday, the 1st of March, Prime Minister Allen Chastanet and Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmar-George attended the special meeting of CARICOM in Barbados.
This meeting was convened to discuss the global threat of COVID-19 to the region and facilitate regional coordination for the management of COVID-19. The cruise and airline executives were also engaged in this discussion. The meeting was chaired by Prime Minister Honorable Mia Mottley and was attended by the Pan American Health Organization, the Caribbean Public Health Agency, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, SEDIMA, CARICOM, IMPACTS, and the executives of the various cruise lines were also in attendance. As we note that the level of the threat has now for the region been increased from low to moderate to high, we continue to inform the public to practice the standard recommendations to prevent the spread of respiratory infection.
The standard recommendations include regular hand washing with soap and water or alcohol-based sanitizer where soap and water is not available, covering your mouth and nose with disposable tissues or clothing when coughing and sneezing, avoiding close contact with anyone showing symptoms of respiratory illness such as coughing and sneezing, and seeking medical attention and sharing your travel history with your healthcare provider if you have symptoms suggestive of respiratory illness either during or after travel. Saudi Arabia has reported its first confirmed case of new coronavirus. Iran has reported more than 1,500 confirmed cases and 66 deaths since the 19th of February. The infected Saudi citizen has been placed in quarantine in a hospital and samples have been taken from those who were in contact with him. The announcement came just days after the Saudis took the unprecedented step of barring foreigners from performing pilgrimages to Mecca and Medina. Deaths globally have passed 3,000. Italy saw a jump from 34 to 52 today. New cases have been reported including in Senegal, Tunisia, Jordan, and Iceland. A second person has died in the US and new cases are reported from coast to coast. The World Health Organization called the virus unique, saying they had never seen a virus that could transfer so easily between individuals. The economic impact continues to be felt. Airlines, including British Airways, announced they are canceling flights. Poorer countries without the infrastructure to deal with outbreaks may receive help from the World Bank and the IMF. Fears of an outbreak in Washington deepen after a second patient in the state died from coronavirus. The patient was a man in his 70s who was treated in the same facility where the first patient died a day earlier. 23 new cases of new coronavirus or COVID-19 were reported in the U.S. over the weekend, bringing the total to 88 cases. The first two COVID-19 deaths on U.S. soil prompted Washington state to declare a state of emergency. New cases were reported in U.S. states from coast to coast in Washington, California, Oregon, Illinois, Florida, New York, and Rhode Island. Meanwhile, 2 U.S. passengers on the Diamond Princess cruise ship were looking forward to going home today, but at the last minute, another member of their group tested positive for COVID-19. They spoke with the BBC about the emotional roller coaster.
Well, today we were meant to be processed out of quarantine at the Lackland Air Force Base. Well, today we were meant to be processed out of quarantine at the Lackland Air Force Base, take a bus to the airport. Well, today we were meant to be processed out of quarantine at the Lackland Air Force Base, take a bus to the airport, and fly home to Syracuse, New York. That is what we were was meant to happen today, and what we were really looking forward to, finally putting this behind us and getting home.
If we count from the time we were on the ship till to this day, that is 27 days in quarantine.
So we started out in quarantine on the Diamond Princess. We were on the Diamond Princess for 12 days,
12 days
before we flew out to the United States in a plane. Then we've been at Lackland Air Force Base. We've been here for 14 days. Today is the 15th day because we were going to be processed out and released today. Our feelings and emotions have been a roller coaster. We are feeling frustrated. We are feeling shocked that we were supposed to go home and now we're not. Disappointed. We miss our family. We miss our friends. We miss our life. Really, our life has been put on hold for all this time.
If they came and took my temperature now, mine would probably be 102 degrees, if not higher. I'm sweating, and it's really draining, really emotional, stress.
Yes.
You just heard there from 2 quarantined U.S. citizens on board the Diamond Princess. Members of the Bize community were left in shock after what eyewitnesses described as a freak accident on Sunday, the 1st of March. According to one resident, the incident highlights the negligence of drivers who continue to park alongside the already narrow Bize Road, causing a great deal of obstruction. Jacques Wooding tells us more.
On Sunday, March 1st, a quiet road in Bize was transformed into the site of a tragic accident. We're here with a resident of the community who saw how things unfolded.
Yeah, well, I live in Bize, and while I came from my home, I gave a friend of mine a pan to bring some food for my kids. And while coming out, I know the young man with the bike very good. He went up the road, and by coming down after that, they had a van coming up to the road, and they had a car right there, as you can see, parked there. But the driver tried his best to take off to give him room, but he could not because of the other car that was there. He ended up knocking it too. You understand? And until, the guy said he was in the drain, the bike was thing, and people that come to see him, they could not see him the way because all the time he had fitted in the drain. Until I saw, when the ambulance come and take him, the fire brigade, everything, and that is it.
Meanwhile, one member of the community attributes this accident to continued negligence of motorists in Bize.
This guy, he just parking the vehicle at the side of the road. What I'm saying like that, he parked his vehicle at the side of the road, and I told him do not park the vehicle there, because negligence, that's why it happened. Because the vehicle, because nobody never have no wrong. All right, because he's my friend that fall along in the gutter, and I feel sorry for him.
Sources have reported that the young man involved in the accident, the motorcyclist in this case, succumbed to his injuries on Sunday. Hot 7 News, I am Jacqueline.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. There's more coming up after the break.